Two women were soaking their feet when suddenly a human skull surfaced, terrifying them both. Based on the damage to the mandible, the forensic examiner determined that this injury had been inflicted before death, as had the fractures to the right tibia and fibula. However, fragments of the victim's mandible had already been eaten by fish. Hodgins speculated that the mandible fragments had been consumed by the fish and that he needed to find a way to retrieve them. The victim had multiple stab wounds on the chest, suggesting that the fish had been attracted by the blood. A knife tip was discovered lodged in one of the wounds, indicating that the killer had broken the blade during the stabbing and had attempted to remove it. Using facial reconstruction, Angela identified the victim as Nisbet Roy, an inventor. Agents investigated Nisbet's laboratory. When his assistant learned that Nisbet had been murdered, he claimed not to know who would want to harm him. Strangely, on the day Nisbet disappeared, his assistant Tim had registered a patent for jewelry polish. Tim insisted he had developed this patent independently. Meanwhile, the forensic examiner found no signs of healing on the victim's bones and no scars on the body wounds, indicating the wounds had been inflicted post-mortem. Had the killer stabbed him again after death? Hodgins explained these were surgical incisions. He also discovered that the victim's internal organs had been removed. The case involved organ trafficking. They also found knife marks on the victim's heels and around the eye sockets, indicating the corneas had been removed as well. Striations were found on the medial aspect of the left 11th rib, likely inflicted before death. Hodgins was asked to extract particles from this area to potentially identify the murder weapon. Angela found a mysterious broker on the dark web who had sold a pair of corneas 8 days earlier, along with kidneys, liver, and pancreas, matching exactly the organs missing from the victim. Unfortunately, the dark web security was impenetrable, making it impossible to trace the broker's IP address. James decided to lure the seller out. He quickly arranged a meeting with the broker, claiming he urgently needed money and wanted to sell his liver. The broker, Nina, told him he would be doing a good deed. Agents promptly arrested the seller. Angela searched the organ donation database for recent removals from the waiting list, ultimately identifying 6 suspects. Among them, one girl's father was a clerk at Nisbet's insurance company, making him the prime suspect. James brought in Dale for questioning. Dale explained that his daughter couldn't survive without an organ transplant, so he bought a kidney on the dark web. He claimed he didn't know someone would die as a result. When James demanded to know who performed the surgery, Dale refused to reveal the doctor who had saved his daughter's life. Hodgins used star anise terpenes to induce vomiting in the fish to retrieve the mandible fragments. Angela analyzed marks on the ribs and, using simulation, determined they were made by trocar buttons, commonly used by funeral professionals for embalming. Had they harvested the organs? She found DNA matching the skin of a victim who had been killed in a drive-by shooting 10 days earlier. If they could find the funeral workers, they could identify who had removed the organs. Agents located the deceased's funeral director, Vargas. When they arrived to question him, he said the ceremony was about to begin and to talk later, but the agent immediately noticed something was wrong with the body. The female agent walked over and pulled back the deceased's clothing, quickly discovering that the internal organs had been removed, shocking the guests present. Vargas said he would confess, but only if the FBI dropped all charges against him. The agents had never encountered someone so shameless. Meanwhile, Hodgins finally obtained all the mandible fragments and detected iron,